How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is wrapping up its great Golden Week sale, and I want to highlight some of the deals under $20. We looked at deals under 10, under 5, all that good stuff, but now we're going to up the price cap a little bit, and there's a lot of good stuff. This is just the Golden Week sale, not the May saving sale, because there's a lot of good stuff as a part of the Golden Week sale when you do up that price limiter that we usually have of 10 and 5. Some of these Japanese titles, they do tend to hold up in price a little bit longer, so that is something you do have to deal with from time to time, but hey, when you got great games to talk about, it's fine to spend a little bit more. So let's get right into it, and let's start things off with NieR Automata Game of the YoRHa Edition. 50% off for $19.99. NieR Automata is a tremendous action RPG. The gameplay is very good, given that Platinum Games had a hand in working on it. Soundtrack is tremendous. The story can be pretty confusing, but it comes together nicely after, subsequent playthroughs and whatnot. $19.99 is a great price. I do want to note that I could see this game being added to PlayStation Plus Extra at some point, given the fact that Square Enix and Sony seem to have a pretty strong relationship. As far as Plus Extra goes, you see titles like Neo: The World Ends With You, a bunch of the Final Fantasies, etc., being on Plus Extra. So I could see this being added at some point. At this stage of the game, it's not available, so I thought it still was worth a recommendation. Next up, speaking of Plus Extra, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is available on Plus Extra. However, the PlayStation 5 upgrade is not available on Plus Extra. So with that being said, I think the $14.99 price tag for Kakarot is still worth it if you're looking for the PS5 version of the game. I thought DBZ Kakarot was a great action fighting RPG. Kind of weird to describe exactly what it is, but it's a very enjoyable game. Now, if you're not a fan of Dragon Ball, I wouldn't say pick it up. Yes, it does a decent job of retelling the Dragon Ball story, but there are some glaring omissions that I just don't even understand why it was omitted. For example, like, spoiler alert if you don't know the story of Dragon Ball, like, the fight between Trunks and Cell is just cut out of the game, which is, like, so weird. Like, why would you cut that out? Nevertheless, it's still a really good title with a lot of content. $14.99 I think is a good price, so go check that out. Next up, it's only 25% off for Persona 4 Golden. $14.99 for this. Very good deal. Persona 4 is a tremendous JRPG that a lot of people think is even better than Persona 5. I don't know if I would go that far, but what I will say, for $15, this is a great JRPG, and unlike Persona 3 Portable, it's not a neutered version of Persona 4. It is actually a better version of Persona 4, even though it was initially released on a portable platform, much like P3P. It retains all of the elements of Persona 4, and it's an expanded game. Persona 3 Portable went with a more streamlined design, and it's fine. It's a good game still, but P4G is where it's at. $14.99. Great price for this. Just a lengthy game, but great story. Strong recommendation here for Persona 4 Golden. Next up, Raccoon City Edition. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 Remake. Resident Evil 2 Remake is tremendous. Resident Evil 3 Remake is still very good. It's super short, but it's an okay time. Resident Evil 2 is where it's at, though. This really set the bar high for the Resident Evil remakes in terms of these big budget remakes. RE2 was tremendous. RE3, again, is decent, but RE2 was just fantastic. And while I wouldn't say it's the best RE remake, given that RE4 came out, it's still pretty darn good. And for that price, I would definitely say pick up Raccoon City Edition. Next up, Resident Evil Village, 50% off for $19.99. Loved Resident Evil Village. I would recommend you to play RE7 if you haven't. They do have a Gold Edition bundle that includes RE7 and RE Village Gold Edition. $39.99 on that. Remember that the Village Gold Edition goes for $29.99, includes the Winner's Expansion, all that stuff. The base game for $19.99, not a bad price at all, and Village was one of my favorite games of 2021. Looks great, plays great, especially on PS5, available on PS4 as well, but definitely a worthwhile playthrough. VR2 got added as well, and it's a pretty compelling experience that way, if you want to check that out. Next up, Bloodborne Complete Edition Bundle, 50% off for $17.49. Look, we're going to be begging until we're all 80 years old until a Bloodborne remaster actually comes out, so like at this point, if you have yet to play Bloodborne, get the Complete Edition. Yes, the frame rate isn't the greatest. It seems like Sony's adamant that you're gonna play this game at 25 FPS and you're gonna like it, but you do get the DLC in this version as well, and Bloodborne is my favorite FromSoft game. Like, FromSoft has probably put out games that are better than Bloodborne, but Bloodborne, from a setting standpoint, the aesthetics were right up my alley. Love this game, and it was truly the first PlayStation 4 system seller. Remember, back in early 2015, yes, Infamous Second Son had come out. Yes, we had titles like Killzone and Shadowfall, but those weren't real system sellers. They were good games, not great games. Bloodborne was a truly great game. And a lot of people bought PS4s to play this game. It was a fantastic title, $17.49 with the DLC. I think that's a pretty good buy. Next up, we got Danganronpa 1 and 2 Reload, 60% off for $15.99. Danganronpa is definitely quirky, definitely zany, definitely not for everybody, but it's an incredible visual novel with a lot of mystery, a lot of intrigue. So hard to describe what the games are. It's this murder mystery, but just know that it's incredibly compelling after you give it 30 to 45 minutes. It is just such an engaging story, and for $15.99, I think it's a great buy. It is light on the gameplay. You do have these sections of the game that are a little bit more gameplay heavy, but overall, the game, you know, it's not that complicated to play the game, but you're getting into it for the narrative, and the narrative is incredibly compelling. And I thought Danganronpa 1 was good. I thought 2 was even better. So, yeah, 2 great games here. This has been cheaper. It's been 80% off for $7.99, so I don't know if they're going with a, you know, price increase on the sale price, but all of the Spike Chunsoft games this sale are a little bit more expensive. Danganronpa 3 is $16, AI the Somnium Files is $16, so, you know, I believe all of those games have been $7.99 in the past, so bear that in mind. Next up, Mega Man Zero ZX Legacy Collection of $14.99. This includes Mega Man 0, 1 through 4, as well as ZX and Mega Man ZX Advent. Now, 0, 1 through 4 are GBA titles. They're good, they show their age, and they are incredibly challenging, but they're still worthwhile playthroughs, relatively short, but again, very challenging games. ZX and ZX Advent, on the other hand, probably some of the most underrated Mega Man games in my opinion. They are more Metroidvania-style Mega Man titles, and they were really, really good. It's unfortunate that they never saw a lot of love, but I really dug the game. They were DS titles, so, you know, keep that in mind as well. $15 though for 6 games. I think that's a pretty good buy, and I would check it out. Next up, Gravity Rush Remastered is 50% off for $14.99. You guys have heard me be a broken record as far as recommending Gravity Rush 2, and while Gravity Rush 2 I would say is the better game comparatively to Gravity Rush 1, Gravity Rush 1 is still damn good, and this one holds up in price, I believe, because like the physical version of this game is insanely expensive. Like, I think used copies go for like $70 or $80 or something like that. It's ridiculous, but Gravity Rush 1, originally a PlayStation Vita title, works well on the DualShock 4 controls, or the DualSense if you're playing it with that. Yeah, great game, great art style. It is a criminal that this franchise isn't more popular. Maybe someday they'll go back to it. Find it hard to believe at this stage of the game, but you should still give GR1 and 2 a look. I think you guys will greatly enjoy. Just great games there. Next up, Scarlet Nexus Ultimate Edition, 80% off for $19.99. The base game is available through PlayStation Plus Extra, so you can play it that way. Ultimate Edition includes a lot of in-game items and things like that. You have a digital art book and original soundtrack, but this is a substantial discount. Typically $100. This is now 80% off for $19.99, and Scarlet Nexus is a really good JRPG. Does it have its shortcomings? Sure, but it's got such an interesting premise. I mean, it was called a brain punk JRPG. Like, what does brain punk even mean? I don't really know, but what I do know is that this is a really good game with a charming cast of characters, replayability with 2 playable main characters that play distinctly different, and a pretty interesting story the whole way through, and an underrated soundtrack. So $20 for this, not a bad buy, and I would say give it a look. Next up, Bayonetta and Vanquish 10th Anniversary Bundle, 65% off for $14. This is your tried and true Platinum Games gameplay. Vanquish is so over the top, even comparatively to Bayonetta. Like, Vanquish is one of the wildest action games I've ever played, but both games are really good. Both games obviously on the shorter side. Kind of whack that we won't get Bayonetta 2 or 3 on platforms outside of the Switch, but what can you do? Them's the breaks. Sometimes $14 for both Vanquish and Bayonetta is pretty good, though. Lastly, I do want to give a shout out to Catherine Full Body Digital Deluxe Edition. This is down to $12.49. My issue with this release was the expensive price for it, really. It was a PlayStation 3 title that was relatively niche and went really under the radar. Now, Full Body did expand the game quite a bit, and now at $12.49, this is a great deal. You get the game, you got 4 DLC packs, but nothing too crazy as far as that's concerned. That's more, you know, fan service stuff, playable character set, the ideal voice set, and the Persona 5 character Joker and Phantom Thieves commentary set, and some bonus content and things like that. The game itself is super zany, super off the wall, replayable with all the different routes and whatnot, and definitely an interesting game. And the puzzle gameplay mechanics actually worked out pretty well, and I'm not big into puzzle games as a whole. But that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals under the price of $20 as a part of the Golden Week sale. Really, this is when the sale starts to shine, when you look at some of these more expensive titles. Just great games all around. Links to everything, as always, in the description box below. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.